First question, I really have a serious question here. Is Donald Trump like paranoid, delusional, narcissistic? What
Good
would
point.
you like? I mean, is it, I know you can't do a real diagnosis, but based on what you see, I mean, like, what do you see of this guy?
Okay, so now we've been told, and there's a general rule that you're not supposed to give a diagnosis
So, not
of
a
a person.
diagnosis, but your
Yeah, so
opinion.
my impression is, of course, there are issues that seem to be a little abnormal, and that is all I'm going to say. I don't want to be sued by American TV now.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't think there's much danger of that because
Okay, let us ask the question so that the doc is not put in the spot.
sure.
In the same context, would you say that there are certain type of people who are just not fit to lead countries, and that there
Absolutely.
should be a sort of mental test? No, mental test is not the right word. Psychiatric test.
Absolutely. I would very, very strongly believe that that would benefit.
Yeah, I mean, like the delusion is just like, and it's
Yeah,
not just
and the best. Yes,
yeah,
and the
it's
best.
not just delusion, right? It's like this disconnect from reality, this kind of inability to see parallels between his own behavior in other ways. The kind of crap that he gave Black Lives Matters, the protesters over there, right? And to some degree justified, right? Because I feel like violence is never acceptable and wasn't acceptable there, and it's not
Absolutely.
acceptable here, right? And but
Absolutely. I'd agree with that.
over here, his responses. I mean, like we're talking obviously about the
The
capital
capital siege. Yeah.
siege, right? But I mean, like his response is insane, right? It's just like, go home. That's his response, right? I mean, like you guys
Yeah.
are be peaceful and I mean, like this
It's a
is the rage.
half-hearted gesture.
It's
Is
not
what you're
even
saying.
dude. He's justifying it, right? That this is the kind of rage that erupts when elections are stolen, is what he's saying, and then you should go home. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, like the guy is
Yes.
insane.
Uh, I do believe that there is a move in the general world population today towards being a little more righteous and a little more it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And I think this is symptomatic of the same.
Yep.
I think tolerance has actually reduced to a large extent across the world.
Let's say not single out Donald Trump. I think they're leaders, not just corporate leaders, leaders in other industries, etc., who are just wrong for that position because there's no humanitarian and conscious aspect on their side to look at it from empathetic and other points of view. For example, I would look at Angela Merkel, the New Zealand PM, and the Taiwanese PM, all three women, as the best leaders we have in the world.
I would
going
agree.
on.
I would
No?
agree.
So I would rather look at that and say, let's look at the positives for a second and say, you need to have that humane touch first and above everything else before you lead.
Yeah.
But can I, just to kind of
You won't let him go. You won't let Trump go.
No, it's
You
not
want
Trump.
Trump.
It's not just Trump, right? Okay, so here's the thing, right? I mean, like there have been numerous. I mean, like I've read about this in like pop science, so I don't know if this is true. You would obviously know better than me, doctor. But I've read stuff like that there is a tendency towards like sociopathic behavior amongst many leaders, right? Whether it's corporate, whether it's political, whatever that is, there
Well
is a
put,
tendency.
Amit.
No, there is. I mean, like there are studies that I've read about which say that I mean, like to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, chances are you have some sociopathic tendencies, right? I've read some stuff around that, right?
Climb up, you have them.
So
but yeah.
let's look at it in another perspective. Association does not mean causation. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if a person is sociopathic and is a head honcho, he's a head honcho because he's sociopathic.
Correct.
So there could be an association, but I don't think it's a causation.
No, it's not a cause.
No. There are a huge number of excellent people who run businesses, who run corporations, people like Cyrus, who are...
You killed it. You killed your argument, doctor. The good doctor has shot himself in the foot. Run out in cricket terms.
No, so they may be having certain qualities which enable them to reach the position that they have. And over here, I'm actually going to commend what Cyrus said a little while ago, that let's talk of the positives rather than the negatives, because that's actually the basis of something called behavior therapy, where instead of punishing the wrong, we should reinforce the right.
Yep.
The more positive we are and the more we keep reinforcing positive stuff, the more the chances are that positivity will keep increasing rather than the negative.
They're just the media is just not taking to the fact that you have these three world leaders who have set apart and pushed the bar up.
Barabar.
Let's look more at them and let people get inspired.